Arator. He's going to be important going forward. Obviously, he got a new model, which means he's going to be important. Every time a character gets a new model in WoW, you know they're about to be at the forefront of the storyline again. So, Arator, if you don't know who he is, the son of Illyria and Turellian, half elf, half human, half light, half shadow, maybe. So, if you don't remember back in, I think it was Dragonflight, when the new N'Zoth Whispers came out, N'Zoth came out with a whole thing about the child of light and shadow. Being important going forward. And everyone was trying to figure out, who is this kid? Who's the light and shadow kid? Are we talking about Anduin, you know, with his shit that he dealt with in the Shadowlands and his dabbling with the light? We weren't sure. But a lot of people suspected Arator. Because once Illyria went down the path of the Void, and obviously his father Turellian is a big-time light zealot, he would be prime in position to be the child of the light and shadow. Well, going forward, he's very important in the coming expansion. So we need to learn real quick here, because we're going to be doing a lot of questing with him. Who the fuck is Arator? Let's get into this one here from Bellular.
Midnight promises one of the greatest conflicts in Azeroth's history.
Come, let us lay waste to this realm.
Pee on the side of the toilet. Fantastic name. Thank you for that follow. Welcome to our Scourge.
Void the fate of the world soul, defending the Sunwell. And standing right in the middle of that perfect storm is Arator. This guy. Technically, we've known about him for years, but I've seen a lot of people ask themselves, who the hell is this guy? Why has he appeared after not being in the game that much, with a fresh haircut? Why does he matter now?
The volume is a bit low, I know. I don't know why Bellular put a low volume video, but just I'll be a little bit quiet, okay? He could turn up the volume.
Is he the Light's Redeemer like his father? Is he relentless like his mum? Is he the ultimate tool of some cosmic scheme? What the hell is going on? Why is he a new, almost main character? Well, today, you're going to learn all about him. Here's the truth. He is none of those things. He was not shaped by Turellian and Illyria's immense personalities.
No, he wasn't.
That's who people think he is. But strip their legacy away and you find someone who is totally different.
Yeah, well, I mean, he can't be too much like his parents, because his parents were gone. They were fighting the 1,000 Years' War against the Legion, almost for his entirety of his childhood, pretty much. So he was raised by, it was Valera, right, the sister of Illyria. So that he was mainly raised by his aunt. You know, that was who he grew up with. His time with his parents was very brief, and we met them. There was a big reunion, if you guys remember, when we went to Argus in Legion, and we were on the ship, and they had the big reunion party. Oh my God, Arator! Oh, you're a paladin. That's great. Like they didn't know much about him. They left him as a baby, went to fight the war, came back. He was like a teenager.
You find a half-elf born to war, who earned his rank in the Silver Hand, who traveled the universe and faced down the Legion.
He was always trying to find him,
What
yep.
to understand about him is that he forged his own moral compass. That's the thing that is key. And what it's given him is the ability to collide worlds that were never meant to coexist, like the light of his father, the void of his mother, to defy laws that fanatics hold sacred, to turn enemies into friends, and by the end of this video, you'll understand who he is, why he's doing what he's doing, and how his ability to see past what controls people may just save them from the worst of the light and the void. And at any rate, look, you'll be spending a fair few hours with this bastard, so you may as well know what his deal is. So many people saying, wow, it can be hard to stand out, hard to get the perfect
Yes, Max
boost like that online.
What's up, Conicio?
Everyone's online, but the question is, do you look pro or do you look forgettable? And today's sponsor, Squarespace, has been shipping serious upgrades.
Look
to
at
help
it.
you on that, and they're worth paying.
Make an Arator fan
Here
page.
is
Use
Finish
Squarespace.
It's the kind of new headline feature. It gives you professional grade animation, scroll effects, and transforms. It's the sort of polish that used to require hiring a developer, and it turns a standard site into something that is...
Sam, I'm going to take a percockett and shot of vodka every minute this video plays. You're about to get real fucking drunk. I'm just letting you know, Doc. I can't hear shit. Yeah, the volume's low. I don't know what to tell you.
So you get no blank canvas.
I don't know whose Bellular's editor is, but he done posted a video with really fucking low volume. I raised it as much as I can, and this ad is lower. When he gets back to the main shit, it should be higher.
With Squarespace, be it merch, services, whatever, it all works now with tap.
Percocet, sure.
So you can just accept contactless payments.
Oh, Percocet. Okay,
no
Percocet, I see.
No extra hardware, and that alone
Okay.
makes
Don't do
Squarespace
drugs,
a hell of
kids.
a lot more than just a website builder. So You can build your site for free at squarespace.com.
Basically, he said he's going to commit
And when you're
suicide.
ready to set it live, use code Bellular Gaming.
There it is. Use code Bellular Gaming.
Of your first purchase.
The volume should go up right now when he returns to the video. Here we go.
Here he is, Arator, the half-elf paladin who's suddenly a center stage in Midnight. He's got a cool new haircut, accessorized his tier 2 set, and he's rushing to the defense of the Sunwell. His story begins 32 years ago, the moment that Illyria hands an infant Arator to her sister Verisa, and then charges through the Dark Portal with Turalyon.
Nice. Yeah, literally, you turn up the volume on your damn computer. Connie is the video WoW. Connie is this video WoW related. Of course it is. This is WoW. Arator is going to play a major role in Midnight. Basically, we got our new zones, and the 4th new zone in Midnight is Arator. We're gonna explore Arator. That's right. No, we're actually exploring a lot of old Azeroth with him. We're gonna go through a lot of storylines, wrap up a lot of old storylines for the elves, and explore a bunch of new ones with him. So he's a very important character going forward into Midnight.
That whole Beyond the Dark Portal campaign culminated in Draenor exploding and the Dark Portal going off. And that means that basically they were presumed dead. So they were out of the picture. Arator was brought to Silvermoon, where Sylvanas was now Ranger General, and Verisa was busy saving red dragons, leaving Arator in the care of Lorthamar Theron. You'll know him as the current leader of the Blood Elves, but at this time he wasn't leader, he just was essentially an important noble, and I'll leave it at that. Arator would go on to join the Farstriders, and in doing so, he learned how to survive out in the wilds, tracking, hunting, that sort of thing. So he had a lot in his life. He had his aunt Verisa, he respected Lorthamar, but he also didn't feel like he fully belonged in Quel'Thalas. He's half human. He felt too human for the elves. He felt alone, and the training he got from the Farstriders did teach him how to be self-sufficient. And more important than that, they were the skills he would need to survive the upcoming atrocity that the High Elf people would experience.
Right. Yeah, and the half-human, half-elf thing, I mean, interestingly enough, we just met, in this expansion, The War Within, we met the Hallowfall people, and they're like all half-elf, half-human. If you remember, pointy-eared humans, but they're like more human than elf, where he's more elf than human. Not because of anything else other than just how the genetics mixed, I guess. But I wonder if he finds some solace in that when he meets these people. We haven't seen Arator interact with the Hallowfall people yet, the paladins from Hallowfall. But maybe he'll feel like he belongs.
12 years after Arator's birth, Quel'Thalas lived in peace. But then we know what happened. Arthas and her scourge cut a plagued scar through the land, killing upwards of 90% of the population.
Wild.
Verisa ensured Arator survived this slaughter, and she sent him to Stormwind. Around 6 years were spent in...
Imagine, man. Imagine 90% of the population being wiped out in a single event. In a single event, an entire race, 90% gone. I don't think people realize how devastating the Scourge invasion was for the elves. Especially, specifically the High Elves. They got decimated, man. Absolutely obliterated. And they were like one of the fonts of power in the world. Like we're talking about like advancing in technology, advancing in education, magic, power, battle presence, all that shit. Their cities that they had built. It was all, they were one of the, top races in the world. And then the Scourge shows up with Arthas and freaking decimates them. Almost takes them off the face of the planet. So that was a major event. I think we're going to get more emphasis on it and the story of it. We've dealt with the Dead Scar story a couple times now in the game. But I think people need to realize how many people really died during that invasion. It was crazy.
Stormwind until something major happened. Kel'Thas pulled Quel'Thalas from the Alliance, and then Lorthamar brought their people into the Horde. And in doing this, Arator found himself exiled from his homeland, along with the few remaining High Elves. Of course, Kel'Thas had renamed them to Blood Elves, in memory
And always use another Death Knight.
Oh, that was loud, because this video is so vast. Thank you so much for the sub, man. Tier 1, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Death Knight of our Scourge. Did I miss the Heartsteel news? Yeah, you did. It was absolutely depressing.
of their blood that had been spilled by Arthas. And this meant that Stormwind was Arator's new home. But then again, he also didn't fit in. He felt too elven for the humans. So, finding himself without purpose, he decides to join the Knights of the Silver Hand. We don't exactly know the details, whether he felt the light within him, or was just following his father's legacy, or perhaps a bit of both. But either way, he was welcomed to the Order and squired under Lord Grayson.
I feel this is like a, this happens a lot. People who feel like they don't belong, they join like a, I don't want to call it a cult or something, but a group of people that are kind of, misfits from other places, and they form a family kind of together. So that's what the Knights of the Silver Hand was for him. It's almost like a, Jon Snow and the Night's Watch kind of storyline, right? Where you got the bastard child. He's not a bastard, but you have this person who feels like they don't belong where they've grown up, and then they join kind of a family. That's what he did.
Who, by the way, is this guy from Stormwind Cathedral. Arator respected Grayson, even called him a mountain of a man, but he was also a little bit intimidated, and their views on the Holy Light absolutely clashed. Now, in the novel Blood Ties, we see Arator befriend Jubacus, Shadowbreaker of the Black Harvest.
Jubacus,
so
what a
very
name.
much not a follower of the Holy Light. She's a Forsaken, but it turns out she's also Grayson's sister. And when she had tried to reconnect with her brother after the Third War, Grayson was so disgusted by what she had become that he actually just tried to smite her. Not exactly a kind move, but it helps us understand.
It's such a paladin thing to do. I didn't know this story. This is an interesting one. So yeah, his sister Grayson, leader of the Silver Hand, that was his. She was undead and tried to reconnect with him. Okay, yeah. One thing about Arator that you guys will realize is he's very open to dialogue. He doesn't judge anybody by what magic they practice or what they look like or what race they are. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. While Tyrellian is like all about, we'll just be blinded by light and smite all that don't fit in. And now he's learning to deal with that kind of shit. Maybe thanks to Arator.
And his strict and dogmatic
World
view
of
the light,
Peacecraft.
and how it didn't suit
It does feel that way. I know. It does feel that way.
Arator, who of course is a person who's naturally felt himself between things, between peoples, between structures. His methods are a little different. They're more about reaching out to those the Order deemed unworthy or beyond redemption. And even though that wasn't typical for the Order, he got results, and eventually he graduated to become a knight. And that's where he got his title, the Redeemer. It was given by a member of the Order who had received divine inspiration from the light, which, by the way, is the same way that Tyrellian was inspired to title Uther the Lightbringer. So that's where Uther got his title from.
I wonder if we'll get some more Uther lore with all the light shit that's going on. I still like Uther. I think he was a badass. I do.
And essentially in this,
You're not my king yet, boy.
we see that the light sees something in Arator's future. But at this stage, what it sees or who it sees, well, it's a complete mystery.
Forging a name.
By this point in the story, Arator has spent 12 years in Quel'Thalas, 6 years in Stormwind. He's had his training, he's developed his moral code that didn't fit neatly into Stormwind or Silvermoon. He's about 18 years old, and with that,
See a day.
it's time for him to forge a name for himself. And what better opportunity than World of Warcraft's first expansion? Lord Kazak opened the dark portal from our side, and suddenly, with this, there was a chance that Arator's parents could be found on the other side.
That's right.
Driven by legacy and loss, he took his sweet new paladin gear to Draenor, but instead found the broken remains of Outland. Remember, the final gambit his parents were involved in did result in the whole planet exploding, so it may not have been what he thought he'd find. Still, he went there. He searched high and low for any clue, yet heard no word. He came up completely empty-handed, but in reality, this was in a way his first success. You see, in trying to do all this, he met Danath Trollbane in Honorhold, and he joined the Sons of Lothar, impressing Danath with his skill at fighting, and with drinking. He then traveled to Shatrath, he met Khadgar, and he became what he described as friends with Adal. I don't know how you become friends with a Naru, but apparently this guy did it. Basically, he forged a connection with what we can see as a godlike chime figure from space. It's impressive enough. And from what we understand, he
Impressive
spent quite
indeed.
some time there. He wasn't involved in Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, or Warlords of Draenor. Though, with Warlords of Draenor, we did start to get
Damn, so he spent like 3 expansions chilling with a Naru? Okay. I actually did not know this part of the lore. I knew that he was involved in Burning Crusade, but I don't remember like interacting with him that much. And I guess because he was just chilling Shattrath talking with Naru the entire time.
A few little hints about Illyria and Turalyon.
Some
But
shape of water
6
shit.
years after he first journeyed to Shattrath City, the
Yeah.
Legion would return.
Legion is the first expansion that I really remember, like, oh, Arator is back. He's been brought to the forefront again.
The long-foretold fourth invasion sparked from the broken shore, and it engulfed the whole world. The Knights of the Silver Hand
Man, what a
rushed
great
to the front
expansion.
lines, but were soon pulled from them. And that's because of a discovery of this. This is called Light's Heart, and it's the core of the Naru Zira. It
Yes.
was sent to Azeroth, and it contained a message. A message from Turalyon. In this message, we learn that he and Illyria had been fighting the Legion across the stars. But we also had more immediate concerns. That's because the Dread Lord Balnazar was about to destroy the Netherlight Temple. That is when Turalyon asked Arator to grab the Silver Hand and save it. And so he did, but not on the defense. No, he led the Order through a portal to a Legion world, cleared the world, and ended
Badass.
Balnazar's plans. And that is when he made it clear that he wasn't grandfathered into the Silver Hand, that he wasn't some sort of Nepo baby because his dad was famous.
Nah, he earned it.
He earned it with his sword and his mastery over the light. Soon after, we all took the fight to the Legion at the Temple of Sargeras, and after finding victory there, we traveled to their home base of Argus. Arator traveled with us. He went there aboard the Vindicar with his Aunt Verisa, and before long, he would be reunited with his long absent parents.
Yeah.
And that is
We
what
went,
brings us-
we all witnessed this part of it, and I don't know if Arator sensed it or not. But at this point, he didn't. I don't think know what had happened with his parents while they were gone, and the issues that his mom was having with the void.
to the heart of the matter. Arator has
Oh,
two
that's
snakes
right.
tattooed on his body. They run up his arms and neck, wrapping around his skull.
Pretty badass. I forgot about that. He's in the vision of Nazath being brought in by his mother and sucked into the void. That's right. I forgot about that.
One is shadow, one is light. And like true snakes, they represent the power and the venom of his parents' legacy. Cosmic fangs of void and light literally embedded into
Child
his
of light
skull,
and shadow.
and a constant reminder of who he is and who he came from. Now, during the campaign on Argus, Turalyon met Zira, and that means I have to talk about his parents. So, all those years ago, during the Beyond the Dark Portal campaign, Draenor exploded, turned into Outland, and the two of them leapt through a portal and were eventually saved by Zira, a prime Naru. Turalyon, of course, was a big man for the light, and in meeting Zira, he had found the purest, most fundamental expression of the light. Now,
Yep.
Illyria would go on to become
Until we saw Illidan turn her into dust. Man, I wonder, he disenchanted her right in front of him. Unbelievable.
infected by the void, and through Locust Walker's knowledge and her own tenacity, she devoured a void Naru. So, all that's to say that his parents are deeply embedded into extremely powerful things that they may not fully understand. And they're the very forces that in Midnight threaten to destroy the world.
Right.
The world, of course, that Arator is fighting for. So here's what Arator embodies. If Illyria or Turalyon gave into their powers, they would consume the world. And if Arator was to give into his parents' power, well, his own personality, his uniqueness, would be devoured by that, devoured by the weight of their legacy. And that's made clear in these two visions. First, Arator being choked by N'Zoth in Stormwind's horrific vision.
Yep.
So, if we lose, he is taken to serve the old gods. And then, in this other vision, we see Arator as a child, with Zira standing as tall as his mother's statue. Basically, Zira would destroy his family just as fast as the Void would. And if that seems confusing to you, just look what she tried to pull on Illidan.
True.
And I bring this up because it's not just lore in the background. It is Midnight's core narrative. We will see. Don't worry, I won't go full spoiler.
Right, it's a lot on Arator, right? Mediating your parents. They just sort their own shit out. True.
Here, but Turalyon will suffer from a bit of light blindness.
Yeah.
Right? Almost turning in anyone that the light deems unworthy, perhaps including some allies. Illyria, rather obviously, has a void god festering inside her, waiting to infect the Sunwell.
Don't forget, Illyria has all this void shit going on inside of her, and she no longer has Locust Walker to guide her. Right? Locust Walker, unfortunately, it looks like he met his end at the end of the War Within, when the whole, betrayal by Zalateth occurred at the very end when we defeated Demancius. So, he's gone. And now she's dealing with the void and everything that's happening with it without his guidance. We'll see what happens with her.
The Sunwell. We've even seen that in, say, the Void Elf questline. So, Arator's parents represent the two snakes that will devour the world. As of right now, they're holding their own. They are struggling against that. But they're on the verge of losing their inner battles. And that is where Arator will have to step up to the plate. Thus far, we've seen Arator as an infant, as a teenager, as a young adult, but by the time we find him in Midnight, he's actually in his 40s. That's young for an elf, but still, he's an adult. And with that, he wants more responsibility. He wants to rank up from Knight to Lord of the Silver Hand. Now, the Order has refused this request several times, with Maxwell Tyrosus explaining that he just hasn't done any deed that they deem heroic enough. That may seem like a high bar, especially with his fighting on Argus, but in a way, it does make sense, because to be a lord, you're standing with men like Uther and Tyrion Fordring. He still has a ways to go. And it's
that means we're going to get a freaking epic moment with Arator. Now, I hope it's not some cringy epic moment like they tried to pull with Anduin. If you remember when he jumps off the ship during the quest line, he tried to pull like his daddy, and he couldn't do it. The Arator's moment, hopefully something crazy epic.
In the novel Blood Ties that we see,
I think it's going to happen.
Opportunity, not just to prove himself, but for a family adventure. Illyria, Turalyon, and Arator set off to find a heroic deed, and they discover perhaps more than they bargained for: a Burning Legion plot to invade Azeroth again. The architect of this plan, Sarathar, was a...
These aren't spoilers, by the way. This is in the book that you're supposed to read before you play the Midnight expansions. This is all pretext for the Midnight expansion.
Cunning Arator who'd been taught by the Nathrezim how
But we all know you guys ain't gonna read shit.
Now, Arator's parents thought they could handle this themselves, but Arator knew they would need some outside help. First, the Illidari are able to track demons. But of course, Turalyon was holding a little bit of a grudge against them. That's because Illidan, killed Zira, his old boss, and basically the personification of his entire inner belief system.
Come, let us lay waste to this realm.
Thank you, Mercusi. Thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to our Scourge.
Builds a bridge between the two factions, and he does it again whenever they need the Black Harvest's warlocks. That's because Turalyon, funnily enough, objected to working with the Forsaken. In response, Arator shames him, and Turalyon actually has a tiny change of heart, and they go on to succeed. And really, in that story, we see Arator's character in action, and it aligns perfectly with the core themes of the Midnight expansion. And that is that the setting of World of Warcraft is a fractured one. It's not along faction lines. It's, for a long time now, been along cosmic lines.
Right.
Light versus void, the Fel being backed again, death being knocked out,
order versus
and the Titans
disorder.
perhaps becoming villainous. Or Arator works, is he doesn't care about any of that. He tries to build bridges and does the right thing. And in a world where many players feel that World of Warcraft has just become one cosmic force versus another cosmic force in a way that makes the world somehow feel smaller, characters like Arator are what we need. And of course, if he's a builder of bridges, then it does make sense that in Midnight we've been told the elven tribes are reuniting. Now, who do you think is going to be the guy going out and reuniting them?
Ah, I see.
Recently in WoW, we've been personally dealing with Xal'atath in Khaz Algar, and we know that since we defeated Demancius, she has now become what's called the Great Devourer.
Right.
And now the whole world is realizing that something very bad is about to happen. And we see this in the final questline of The War Within. Verisa Windrunner begins experiencing the Radiant Visions, literal messages from the World Soul, but they're faint. So, to try to get in tune with them, she travels to the location of the Coreway, Dornagal. And of course, she travels with her nephew, Arator. And when she does, it all hits her at once. She sees a vision. Silvermoon attacked by the Void, great warriors of the light consumed by holy fire, the Sunwell itself under attack. And in response to this, Arator demands that the Windrunner sisters reunite to defend Silvermoon.
Right.
Because it's
And that's probably what the Return to Windrunner Spire is all about, this reuniting of the sisters. We know Sylvanas going to play some sort of role in Midnight. We don't know what her role is going to be yet. Got a video coming out about that one. But it's going to be something different, and the sisters reuniting supposedly is like a symbolism for all the elves coming together and dropping their differences and all this other shit.
quite literally the hereditary responsibility of their family, who for generations have served as the Ranger General. But the surviving Windrunners are a complicated bunch. Illyria is on Koresh, and Sylvanas is deep in the Maw. Undeterred by this, Arator travels to Koresh, meets his mother, finds that she stubbornly refuses to give up her immediate hunt for Xalatath, and then he travels to the Maw and actually finds Sylvanas.
Yes, he does.
When he does, she explains that Azeroth is basically not ready for her return, and essentially, it's kind of his time to step up to the plate. So, after all this questing, he and the player character return to Verisa, almost empty-handed. In a way, this mission of his absolutely fails, but in order to find Illyria, he had to first find Magister Umbric, who's the leader of the Void Elves, and when he did, well, Umbric decided to go and help out with the Sunwell's defense. And while the big two Windrunner sisters weren't coming back, well, one of them was already there, Verisa. And Verisa leads the Silver Covenant. She actually does have a lot of strength behind her. And that means that because of his actions, now the High Elves and the Void Elves were racing back to help their Blood Elf kin in
Yes.
Silvermoon.
Also, High Elves and Void Elves Alliance, Blood Elves Horde. There's a bridge now. Yay, we build bridges. We don't fight wars in this game anymore. Look, the whole story can play out in a way where it makes sense, where it's not just like, oh, we're going to be best friends anymore. The existential threat and all that makes this make sense, rather than just being kind of like Dragonflight felt, where it was like, what's the threat here? Why are we all getting so kumbaya? I'm not really sure.
That's everything you need to know about Arator's journey pre the Midnight expansion. I'll say
It's only war if it's Horde versus Alliance. But no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's this common enemy invasion that makes sense. That's why, like, nobody cared in Legion when the Horde and Alliance were fighting together, right? When we saw the cinematic where Varian's coming down with the ship and then Sylvanas shows up and she gives him a little nod, like, that was badass. That totally made sense. Like, yes, of course, the enemies are going to band together, because if they don't, they're both about to get wiped out. And while their reasons to band together could still be selfish, it makes sense. Right, so with the Void invasion, it makes sense. In Dragonflight, it just felt like it was like, oh, we're gonna all get together so we can have an orgy. And in Dragonflight, I don't get it. It didn't feel like the threat was necessary to band together, I guess I would say. And it wasn't really. It was just Eridicron's getting ready for what is going to be the World Soul Saga. That's what it was all really about.
gave you the spoiler stuff. We can do that in a later video, but suffice it to say, this video has been crafted so that you will understand the plot beats that are to come. So when you're playing Midnight, have a think about what you've learned in today's video and what it's going to mean for the future. And if you want to flip things around and understand our main antagonist Xalatath, you can watch this deep dive video on her whole journey next.
Nice, yeah. Nice video overall from Bellular. Okay, his end music is actually higher than what the rest of the video was. The editor's got to fix the volume shit. But anyways, we did our best to go through it. Nice video. Arator playing a big role. I think he can be a very interesting character going forward. We'll see what ends up happening with the lore in Midnight. Nice video from Bellular.